Hey, you Cholomander? What you want, man? What you got? Rare candies, moringa berries, and black tar heroin, Holmes. What's wrong with your friend, man? He huffed a bag of muck. He's gonna be out for hours. Me, though, I don't like it. I'm more of an old school kind of guy, real OG. Now, are you gonna give me my heroin and berries or not? Cholo Million, wrap that shit up, Holmes. Something funny, man? I suppose there's a Cholozard as well, huh? What? No, that sounds stupid, man. It's Cherry Cholo. Cool. Who are your friends over there? Why, you like what you see? I do. How much for the skinny one? That one is extra, man. She my girlfriend. With a figure like that, I'd pay triple. Come on, sweetie, get in. Damn, those jinxes sure are fine, too. Hold on a second, man. There a problem? You a cop, man? Whoa, who you calling a cop, hombre? You, Holmes. You know what, Cholomander? Cholomelian? That's ironically kind of racist. One Pikachu becomes a detective and now we're all under suspicion. I have just as much right to a big bag of drugs and a beautiful Bellsprout as anyone else. Now, are we cool or not? Freeze! PK! You put that down, man! What do you think you're doing, Holmes? God damn it, Gloom!
I'm sorry, I couldn't see what was happening!
Oh, fuck, let him go! Hey, chill! Whoa, chill! Chill! Easy, Cholomander! You don't want to be a cop killer, right? Fuck it!
Freeze! BKPD!
God damn it, cuff him and put him in the back! You just ruined 5 months of detective work, Gloom. I ought to give you a good old-fashioned hood beatdown right here. Good work, Detective Ditto. You really saved us back there. That's okay. Damn, man. Good to see you with some meat on you, Holmes, instead of in you. Copy, man!
He was a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. One-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. One-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. Sure looks strange to me.
Last 190 years, for certain, and probably about the last 300 years, a gigantic mystery religion or cult religion that has spawned up in mostly the European context, that has grafted itself on to all the other things: Christianity, Judaism, science, the kind of modernist authority. What religion is that? In its most basic form, it's Gnosticism. It is the Gnostic religion that life and being itself is a prison, that with special knowledge, secret mystics hold, we can find our way past the trap of being, the prison of being, into which we've been flung, and enter into a promised land. Scientism is the modernist form of that. Take any sheet of paper, draw 3 dots on the paper somewhat far apart. Obviously you've created a triangle, but that doesn't matter. Put a 4th dot anywhere on the paper that you want. 4th dot you put, draw a line between any anchor dot and that, and then put a dot at the midpoint. And you just do this process over and over and over and over again, right? And what you will actually draw is the fractal called Sierpinski's triangle. You have no idea of the form, no idea of the structure, no idea even that you're drawing such a thing, which if you sat down and tried to draw it intentionally, you'd have a hard time. That's that triangle inside of a triangle, inside of a triangle, inside of a triangle. It's a fractal. And the dots, when you have millions of them, will produce that. That's the image that they will produce just by doing this process. So you don't have to have people with a broad Gnostic philosophy. You only have to have people believing that they are conscious transformers of the world who engage in certain kinds of behavior to transform the world to a desired state, and then let them do their organic things. This is what comes out of it.
And then you realize that there is a parasitic entity that latches on to whatever has power at that time and corrupts it internally. Wherever the power is, the Eye of Sauron goes. Like science, for example. Science got all this power, and the Eye of Sauron went. And they're like, okay, this is where the power is, so we're going to start infiltrating and corrupting. It's what's been hollowed out and corrupted by the parasite. This is fascinating. So when you're looking at the fractal, that's how the conspiracy is actually working, is people that have a certain outlook on life are part of the download, or some people call the NPC. And so it's kind of like, how can you possibly have a meeting? Or because one thing that always shoots down conspiracy theory is it's like, well, how do they communicate? How come no one talks? How come no one's went to the press or anything? None of that matters, because it's just a way of behaving. Your behavior will contribute to the next fractal, which contributes to the next fractal. That's why there's so many people that worked at NASA on the moon landing that were completely unaware that they were faking it. And then the people that were aware they were faking it weren't aware in the same way we are, because they were still in the fractal. They were unaware of the next level of the fractal, and they were participating in it based on their primal worldview. That's why these fractals emerge and no one knows where they come from.
No one on this earth can refute this, and it destroys the globe earth theory. In fact, what I'm going to show you can be tested and verified by every single person on this earth. Like I've just stated, the results of which prove the globe is scientifically impossible. Now, I highlighted this the other day, and it put the globe fantasists' heads in a spin, as they had to come up with all sorts of silliness to try and justify the fact their fantasy world is just that. And this is what I showed, a demonstration that can be tested and verified by all, that proves rockets don't work in a vacuum. You need something to push off to enable your rocket to fly. Now, it doesn't matter what anyone says, what anyone does. The only thing that can refute what I've just said is a demonstration showing a rocket flying in a vacuum without it pushing off the sides of the walls of the vacuum it's residing in. There's not one single demonstration on this earth showing that. Which is why I can confidently state the globe earth theory is scientifically impossible. One, you can't have rockets work in a vacuum, like I've shown you, and like we're watching on our screens right now. They require something to push off. In the so-called vacuum of space, there are no walls to push off. So that's the end of the argument. Doesn't matter if some fantasist shows a firework display and claims they're rockets in a vacuum of space. Wrong. Now you've got to show an air pressure system residing next to a vacuum without solid separation to back your absurd, scientifically impossible claim. You're not going to be able to do it, are you? Because we know every single vacuum that resides next to an air pressure system requires solid separation. So what I've shown you the other day and today highlights the fact that globe is impossible. It's not an opinion, it's a scientific fact that can be tested and verified by every single person on this earth. To refute it, you need to show a rocket flying in a vacuum without the assistance of pushing off the walls of the vacuum. That demo doesn't exist. And also, you need to provide a demonstration of an air pressure system residing next to a vacuum without solid separation. That demonstration doesn't exist. Do you know why those demonstrations don't exist? Because the globe earth theory doesn't exist. You're going to have to deal with it, fantasists. The game is up. The globe is over. It was only a concept that resided in the imaginations of naive, gullible individuals.
He shouldn't be able to communicate with the craft with a radio. The radio wave should bend around the craft. I mean, it shouldn't be possible. Every single thing about the craft and the way they operated didn't make any sense to us. I mean, that's something we talked about for a while after.
Why should the frequency bend around the craft?
You really have to look at the way the gravity wave comes out of the craft. There's the reactor's in the center, and there's a waveguide that goes up to the top. There's actually a small appendage that sticks out of the top of the craft, and it produces a heart-shaped gravitational distortion around the craft. Now, if the craft is sitting in the air and you walk underneath it and look up, you actually cannot see the craft. The light bends around it. You're bending gravity, bends light. It bends radio waves. It shouldn't be possible to communicate with a craft that has an envelope around it that's distorting all forms of energy. But they were apparently in contact with it. He shouldn't be.
I decided to go public and say, for the first time, of anyone of cabinet rank from the G8 group of countries, that UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying over your head, and said it without any restriction whatsoever. They are way ahead of us in medicine, agriculture, and still, I guess, presumably in technology. There's no question the U.S. government took this whole idea of advanced technology very seriously and started back engineering and spending a lot of money on it soon after the crashes at Roswell in 1947. They have a very interesting way of keeping things quiet, and that is everything is on a need to know. So you could be working in a lab, or you could be making some kind of piece of machinery, and you wouldn't know what it was for.
What if the aliens are not extraterrestrial beings at all, but humans from the future? This premise has genuinely been debated by scientists and philosophers worldwide, and serves as one of the starting points for a controversial video. Set in a dark interrogation room, the voice of a government official who never reveals his face can be heard. An apparent handcuffed alien makes astonishing statements, capturing the viewer's attention. What if these extraterrestrial beings are more closely related to us than we think? Unsurprisingly, the video was quickly debunked as a hoax. Nevertheless, across various YouTube channels and websites, it has been taken down on multiple occasions. The apparent statements made by the alien are still worth considering, and can provoke significant debate. One of the most shocking statements is the one referring to the grim destiny that awaits us humans. The video continues with more answers that leave the interrogating agent baffled. There is no God. There is no meaning of life. There is also no death. These are all human constructs, claims the alien. In the alien's own words, human beings are not yet ready to understand the discoveries of the future.
Okay, so how was the universe created, and why is it so perfectly made for us?
Three teenagers went out to explore the old sewers of Lake Michigan. With a camera in hand, they ventured into one of the largest pipes, and after traveling about 300 meters, they encountered a huge insect-like creature that was petrified. Even the young people touched it, and it did nothing. They said it was humanly terrifying because it had the deformed face of a middle-aged man. The photograph was confiscated after they were arrested by the police.
The military team began searching the wells of the 4th underground floor of the old zone, carrying cameras, weapons, and explosives in order to record the possible presence of entities that posed a risk of water contamination. They found about 15 well entrances of various sizes leading to sites more than 20 meters underground. The old wells had been designed according to the 1960s schematics to isolate certain substances that could emit toxic gases. However, throughout history, nothing more than mold and small bacteria had accumulated, posing no risk to the surface. In the wells that reached a depth of 30 meters, they found remains of unexplainable material whose movement resembled that of strange larvae and pulsating organic tissues organized in extensive networks of mucus. Some impossible-sized eggs, which couldn't be attributed to birds or worms, began to appear in the deeper wells. The military team decided to send an extensive probe with cameras to venture into the underground pipes, which, due to the labyrinthine nature of the subterranean area and the lack of updated blueprints, posed an imminent risk due to the unknown substances and gases in the area. The image results provided irrefutable evidence of what the Emergency Committee of the Department of Defense had suspected. Strange insectoid creatures were scattered across large segments of Chicago's oldest sewer system. They were forming true nests of creatures that had never seen the light of day, feeding on waste, moisture, and in ways that have not been possible to determine. The following records revealed the presence of hyperdeveloped creatures inhabiting the tunnels. Contact with these creatures was mostly through probes with cameras, although on some occasions. The military team came face to face with the mutant insects. They were mostly described as moths, with an excessive level of development, possibly altered by some substance that radically modified their phenotypic structure. They could have been the result of an unreported nuclear disaster to the relevant authorities. However, agents were investigating rare sightings in the skies off the western coast of the American continent, where some people reported witnessing inexplicable creatures flying over farms during plague seasons. The testimonies always pointed to insects larger than normal, which seemed to lead others, including some tractor caravans.
So heavy. Whoa. Thanks for 1,000 subscribers. 3, 2, 1.
China and the United States are the world's two largest economies and P5 members. Any conflict or confrontation between us would produce no winner, but only spell disaster for the world. The only right choice for us is to combat global challenges together and provide more peace and development dividends to the world. China and the United States are the world's two largest economies and P5 members. Any conflict or confrontation between us would produce no winner, but only spell disaster for the world. The only right choice for us is to combat global challenges together and provide more peace and development dividends to the world. China and the United States are the world's two largest economies and P5